You hear that? So you have Gabrielle Gippy, a high school teacher, who says, I have 180 days to turn them into revolutionaries. As you know, I have been railing against government education for years. I believe that public education has taken an insidious turn over the last 10 years. It was worse before that, but it's taken a much worse turn even since I was in public education, to where teachers view themselves as revolutionaries. And rarely do we get footage of a micro example of a macro trend. Now, the work we do at Turning Point USA we talk a lot about this because we're experiencing it firsthand. And I do have to say, we did a variety of different fundraisers in the last couple weeks, right at the end of the summer, to try to hit some of our goals at Turning Point USA. I had so many people come up to me. They said, Charlie, I've heard you speak for a couple years at these fundraisers at fill in the blank upper middle class neighborhood, right? Naperville or Hinsdale, Holland, Michigan, wonderful family that hosted us out there. And one person in particular, not part of the family, came up to me and they said, Charlie, I've been hearing you for a couple years, and quite honestly, the first time I heard you talk about how public and government education is an existential threat to our country, I thought you were radical and I thought you were exaggerating. I said, no way can education have this kind of damage. And now 3 years later, I think it is the number one threat to our livelihood and our ability to exist as Americans and to keep this republic together. People are waking up and they are realizing this. But again, rarely do we get insight and footage into teachers admitting how they teach and what they teach. I think this is James O'Keefe, right? The wonderful James O'Keefe from Project Veritas hits another home run, and we are big fans of James O'Keefe here on the Charlie Kirk Show. James O'Keefe has come out with a private video of a teacher, I want to make sure I get this school right, at Inderkum, is that right? High School in California, which is right near Sacramento, North Sacramento, a private video of him. He looks like a biker. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but he just looks very unusual as a high school teacher, right? He's got tattoos all up and down his arms. And he has now been exposed in what is now national news. He's an AP government teacher. This guy teaches AP government. That is advanced placement government for your children. Now, I know some of you are going to say, Charlie, this is one example. No, there are hundreds of thousands of people that are tasked with teaching future generations what is good, what is right, what is wrong, what is true, history, ethics, philosophy, that think exactly the way that this guy does. What's his name? Do we have his name? This teacher, and by the way, this is one of the reasons why we're involved in the education fight. He looks like an Antifa member. Now, with AP, advanced placement, you get college credit. That's right, you get college credit if you take these classes. Gabrielle Gippy. That's what we're going to, is that right? Gabrielle Gippy, that's his name? Okay. Or Jipe. Gipe? Gippy. I think Gippy's his name. Gabrielle Gippy. We're going to go through these one by one. This was a private video, an undercover video that was filmed that shows you a little insight into what your children are learning and what teachers are teaching to your children. We're going to go through these one by one. Cut 39.
And I've had like students show up for like protests, community events, tabling, food distribution, all sorts of things. When they go, they take pictures, they write up a reflection. That's their extra credit. Like I have an Antifa flag on my wall, and a student complained about that, and he said it made him feel uncomfortable. Well, this is meant to make fascists feel uncomfortable. So if you feel uncomfortable, I don't really know what to tell you. Like maybe you shouldn't be aligning with the values that this is antithetical to.
You hear that? He has an Antifa flag in his AP government class. It gets worse from there. He says that he sends kids to protest, he sends them to tabling, he sends them to try to be activists. This is someone that is being paid to teach young people how to view the world. You want to know how you get AOCs and Ilhan Omars and Rashida Tlaib? You also want to know why I don't want a bunch of Afghans in America? Because they're going to go to these schools. That's why. These are inputs into the manufacturing line of revolutionaries. And guess what? In the next segment, he says that. Gabriel Gippy says that his job is to create revolutionaries. Joe. We have been very focused on education here on this program and in the work we are doing to try and communicate the truth to young people all across the country. We have a beautiful history, constitution that needs to be shared with students all across the country. We need to tease them that if they apply themselves correctly, they could develop good character, that they can become a complete human being. Instead, our education system has become a place to incubate and to manufacture revolutionaries. Ilhan Omar and AOC are not aberrations. They are products of a system that try to create ingrateful, unwise, arrogant, deceitful, and treacherous people like AOC and Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar. That is what happens when they go through the government education system, thanks to good old John Dewey. These teachers should be teaching in AP government John Locke, Montesquieu, Blackstone, Cicero, Madison, Jay, Augustine, Aquinas, Aurelius, Jefferson. Instead, in this undercover video that has been obtained by James O'Keefe from Project Veritas, Gabriel Gippy in Cut 40 says, I have 180 days to turn your children into revolutionaries. Now, I just want to thank Gabriel here. Gabriel has finally given me the video to confirm what I tell parents all the time, what happens when you send your children to college. But this is not even college. This is high school, everybody. And if you're a parent or a grandparent listening right now and you don't know every piece of curriculum that your child is learning from, then you have given your child over to the state. You are playing Russian roulette with your child or grandchild's values. Play Cut 40 of Gabriel Gippy.
I have 180 days to turn them into revolutionaries.
How do you do that? How do you scare the out of them?
Yeah. Sacramento organization that is under the banner of Antifa is very loosely organized, right? So like, yeah, when there is like right-wing rallies and stuff, then we'll create an opposition to that. Yeah.
Beautiful. Where would he go to connect to some of these organizations?
I post a calendar every week. Awesome. And then so and I do it for extra credit, so they get points for doing it. So that encourages them to do it.
They get extra credit to go participate in Antifa rallies and protests against right-wing things that come to Sacramento. You hear that? So you have Gabriel Gippy, a high school teacher, who says, I have 180 days to turn them into revolutionaries. That's the stated goal of the school that he oversees. Now, Gabriel will probably not be held accountable. Either he has tenure or, quite honestly, he just said the private part out loud. You want me to tell you how this is going to end? I've seen this show before. Instead, he is going to play the victim. Gabriel is going to play the victim and say, I was illegally recorded and unethically recorded and taken out of context and clipped, and I'm not a revolutionary, and the Antifa flag I have on my wall is not actually to turn young people into Antifa activists. It's instead to expose them of the anti-fascist movement that's happening in America. I've heard it all. Cut 41, Gabriel continues by saying, the teacher, he says that he makes the kids take a political affiliation test, and each year they become further to the left. He even measures how effective he is at creating revolutionaries. Your tax dollars are paying this. Cut 41.
It's like I've met so many people in my life who, when they met me, thought I was like off the wall, right? And now they're all Marxists, right? You know, and I'm just like, your political identification changed, and so I have a huge political spectrum in my room on the wall. So they take an ideology quiz in their unit 4, and I put their face, or they have to give me a picture of themselves, and I put it on the wall where they are. Every year they get further and further left.
Every year they get further and further left. He is measuring how effective he is at taking vulnerable and innocent children and turning them into allies for his specific purpose. Think about how creepy and demented you must be to do this. At a public education system, he will not be held accountable. And I'm telling you, at this point, if you're still sending your kids to public school, I hope there's a good reason for that. A lot more to get to of teachers that are making kids pledge to the gay flag, not the American flag. Charlie Kirk, be right back.
Gabriel, hello, how are you?
I'm good.
I am a journalist with Project Veritas.
Okay.
Nice to talk with you. Don't
Don't
mind my colleague recording. We are recording, but I think you're going to be more interested in what I have to say here.
I don't feel comfortable with this.
Well, I think that there's been a lot of uncomfortability in your classroom. I'd like to talk with you about some of the statements you've made. I believe you said it.
I don't know what Project Veritas is.
Well, we're journalists.
Okay.
And
I don't want to be.
And you mentioned to one of our colleagues that you have 180 days to turn students into revolutionaries. Would you like to expound upon that?
We do not consent to this filming. We do not consent to these questions.
Well, you're in a public place, and I don't think parents consent to their students being, quote, turned into revolutionaries. So if you'd like to give a comment on that, those newsworthy statements you've made, I think that would go a long way to resolve some concerns in the community.
We would appreciate some distance. If you could step away, that would be
Well, Mr. Geip, if you could please just provide me commentary on these statements. I mean, a student voiced their uncomfortability in your classroom with the Antifa flag. Do you recall that? Do you recall how you responded to that student? You tacitly implied they might be aligned with fascists. I mean, is this the kind of behavior in line with the mission statement of your high school? Don't you give students extra credit for going to partisan left-wing events?
You're harassing.
Sir, I'm not harassing you.
asking you to leave me alone.
I'm trying to get comments.
You to leave me alone.
You're a public school
I
teacher,
understand that, but
You're a public
following
school
me
teacher.
And you're harassing me.
and you're teaching things outside the curriculum of your school. Do you not have a poster of Mao in your classroom? As parents would also like to know, why do you think it's okay to, quote, scare the F-U-C-K out of students to turn them into revolutionaries? Yet you said that you would consider, and you have considered, taking up arms against the state. That's an incredible statement. Do you think it's okay to push these personal beliefs onto students?
in the neighborhood being followed by reporters.
Do you have permission from the superintendent or the principal to use your classroom as a bedrock for your personal beliefs and impose them on students, high school students?
We're being followed by these people. Letting individuals know.
As you can see, they run in shame. They had a lot to say to my colleague, but Mr. Geip has nothing to say now. This is the face of radicalism. This is people who have something to hide, yet when the mic is in their face and they have the opportunity to share, they don't want to. Classic. Outside the school district here, Natomas Unified School District, we were unable to get comment from the principal, Miss Strickland, of Endercombe High School. Now here at the school district, let's see if we can get anyone who's willing to see this disturbing footage. Hello, ma'am. I do see that you're recording, I guess for your safety. We are as well. I have some footage that I need to show a member of the school district here. I was hoping to speak with, if not the communications manager, perhaps Chief Academic Officer Angela Herrera.
Okay, let's start off
Okay. Here's what I do have. I do have a press pass. If you can bring that back to me. Of course. No one wants to see this footage? No one wants to see this footage? Okay. You work for the school district, correct? What is your title, if I may ask? Because I just find it interesting that no one is willing to see this footage. Like I said, it's maybe of a safety concern to Indercombe High School. I have the footage right here. It's a 10-minute video, and it's of. Do you want to? She said no one can see my footage. I don't know if it's a liability issue, or if it's a negligence issue, but no one wants to see this footage.
You guys can't be in here recording. You need to leave, please.
Okay, we're trying to show you a
No,
video.
I want you to leave, or I'm going to call the police.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
Is this a public building?
They have called the police to escort us from the building because we are attempting to get someone from the school district to watch footage of a teacher engaging in behavior that is blatantly a concern for security, health, and just well-being of these minors. Ma'am, can you tell me what your title is so I can leave? Okay. I'll be calling in momentarily just to get her title. She's a member of the school district. She has to give it to me. She's an public employee. Thank you for your help. Have a nice day. We'd rather call the police on someone who has footage of a safety concern instead of simply viewing the footage. These are the people who are running your child. These are the people making the decisions for your child's life. No accountability, no willingness, no responsibility. Cowards. Cowards.
Hello everyone, update, breaking news. We've got a reaction from the school district after we released the video showing the communist teacher hanging the Antifa flag in his classroom and saying he's got 180 days to revolutionize his students.
I have 180 days to turn them into revolutionaries.
So the school district issued a statement. This is in Sacramento, California. It said in part, Natomas United is aware of the Project Veritas video released this morning. We understand that parents and Natomas community members have expressed their concern about the contents of the video. Very postmodern reaction here. We understand they've expressed their concern. Now what's happening is parents are inundating the school with messages, as you should too, and here are their email addresses for Principal Lori Strickland, Assistant Principal Brian Wellborn, Assistant Principal Derek Dykstra, Assistant Principal Jackie Veritas. We even got a message from the Mika Grant, who is on the board.
Yep. Yeah.
He's on the board of the school district. Quote, I'm a lifelong defender of individual freedoms and personal expression, but I am deeply concerned what I've seen in the video released by Project Veritas. Parents depend upon us to provide a safe and nurturing educational environment for their children. There's also a school board meeting tomorrow. Project Veritas reporters will be in attendance. This is going to be an unbelievable thing to witness. You can actually stream into it at this address here, natomasunited.org/Board of Trustees videos. Parents are going to be showing up. It's going to be something else to behold. What's most interesting about today is someone pointed out that this guy actually has an INSOC tattoo on his arm. You'll recall what INSOC is. It's the fictional one party in George Orwell's dystopia 1984. Usually people are opposed to that dystopia. No, this guy, this high school teacher has tattooed INSOC from 1984 on his arm. Ignorance is strength. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Did I get that right? Ignorance is strength. He actually embraces this motto by having the tattoo on his arm. Also interesting about today is we confronted the teacher. Our undercover journalist did so in Sacramento, and he told us that he felt uncomfortable.
I don't feel comfortable with this.
When undercover, he told the person he thought he was speaking to, a parent, that his role is to make people feel uncomfortable if they don't like the Antifa flag.
Like I have an Antifa flag on my wall, and a student complained about that, and he said it made him feel uncomfortable. Well, this is meant to make fascists feel uncomfortable, so if you feel uncomfortable, I don't really know what to tell you.
We've released a lot of videos over the last 10 years, but some are saying that this video is maybe the most shocking or the most influential because, again, it is a public school teacher saying and doing these things. Listen to what Tim Pool had to say.
This is probably one of Project Veritas's most important stories. It's not about Google or other massive multinational billion-dollar corporations. It's not about politicians and the policies they put in place. This is about a high school teacher. That's it.
To follow up on what Tim Pool said, I think it's the simplicity of what this man has said and how obvious, how shocking what he's doing is. He's giving extra credit. He's bragging about giving extra credit assignments to students to go to Antifa rallies and giving them, quote, they students get points for doing it. Unbelievable. Send an email to these principals. There's going to be a consequence to the story. We're already having people inside the school send us messages. They're probably going to record what's happening in this school. More to come. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone. Update, breaking news. We've got a reaction from the school district after we released the video showing the communist teacher hanging the Antifa flag in his classroom and saying he's got 180 days to revolutionize his students.
I have 180 days to turn them into revolutionaries.
So the school district issued a statement. This is in Sacramento, California. It said in part, Natomas United is aware of the Project Veritas video released this morning. We understand that parents and Natomas community members have expressed their concern about the contents of the video. Very postmodern reaction here. We understand they've expressed their concern. Now what's happening is parents are inundating the school with messages, as you should too, and here are their email addresses for Principal Lori Strickland, Assistant Principal Brian Wellborn, Assistant Principal Derek Dykstra, Assistant Principal Jackie Veritas. We even got a message from the Mika Grant, who is on the board. Yep. Yeah. He's on the board of the school district. Quote, I'm a lifelong defender of individual freedoms and personal expression, but I am deeply concerned when I've seen the video released by Project Veritas. Parents depend upon us to provide a safe and nurturing educational environment for their children. There's also a school board meeting tomorrow. Project Veritas reporters will be in attendance. This is going to be an unbelievable thing to witness. You can actually stream into it at this address here, natomusunited.org/Board of Trustees videos. Parents are going to be showing up. It's going to be something else to behold. What's most interesting about today is someone pointed out that this guy actually has an INSOC tattoo on his arm. You'll recall what INSOC is. It's the fictional one party in George Orwell's dystopia 1984. Usually people are opposed to that dystopia. No, this guy, this high school teacher has tattooed INSOC from 1984 on his arm. Ignorance is strength. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Did I get that right? Ignorance is strength. He actually embraces this motto by having the tattoo on his arm. Also interesting about today is we confronted the teacher. Our undercover journalist did so in Sacramento, and he told us that he felt uncomfortable.
I don't feel comfortable with this.
When undercover, he told the person he thought he was speaking to, a parent, that his role is to make people feel uncomfortable if they don't like the Antifa flag.
Like I have an Antifa flag on my wall, and a student complained about that, and he said it made him feel uncomfortable. Well, this is meant to make fascists feel uncomfortable, so if you feel uncomfortable, I don't really know what to tell you.
We've released a lot of videos over the last 10 years, but some are saying that this video is maybe the most shocking or the most influential because, again, it is a public school teacher saying and doing these things. Listen to what Tim Pool had to say.
This is probably one of Project Veritas's most important stories. It's not about Google or other massive multinational billion-dollar corporations. It's not about politicians and the policies they put in place. This is about a high school teacher. That's it.
To follow up on what Tim Pool said, I think it's the simplicity of what this man has said and how obvious, how shocking what he's doing is. He's giving extra credit. He's bragging about giving extra credit assignments to students to go to Antifa rallies and giving them, quote, they students get points for doing it. Unbelievable. Send an email to these principals. There's going to be a consequence to the story. We're already having people inside the school send us messages. They're probably going to record what's happening in this school. More to come. Stay tuned.
The Charlie Kirk Show.
Hey, Hey, everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Email us your thoughts, freedom@charliekirk.com. I want to get to this story here. Teacher union president in Los Angeles says that it's okay that kids don't know math, but they do know the difference between the words insurrection and coup. The head of the Los Angeles union said there's no such thing as learning loss, despite evidence of massive educational decline due to a year of remote learning. Cecilia Mayart Cruz, president of the United Teachers LA, told LA Magazine, quote, "It's okay that our babies may not have learned all the time their timetables, but they learned resilience. They learned survival. They learned critical thinking skills." Really? They know the difference between a riot and a protest. Oh, so they know the difference between BLM and a Trump rally? They know the words insurrection and coup. When schools shut down in early 2020 due to the coronavirus, I'm reading from the Daily Wire, the union demanded that teachers not have to teach remotely for more than 4 hours a day. Teachers often simply posted assignments that students were expected to download and complete on their own. But according to the teacher union president, it doesn't matter if they can't do math or read. As long as they make good activists, that's the point of education. I want to go to this sound here. Cut 43. This is a teacher who says that she does not make her kids take a Pledge of Allegiance in the classroom. She makes her kids pledge allegiance to the gay flag. This is at Newport Mesa School in California. She has been disciplined and removed from the classroom, but I bet she'll be brought back very soon after she issues a half-fake apology, and she said she got all these threats, which she didn't get. It's part of the playbook. Say that you got threatened even though you didn't. Everyone feels sorry for you and you come back. This is who's teaching your children when you send them to public school. And I know a lot of you say, oh, no, our public schools are great. They're probably not. If any of you have great public schools, please send them to me. I'd love to look at them. I'm sure there's some somewhere, maybe in North Dakota. Well, actually, no, I got to tell you, we're going to be in North Dakota in a couple days. And they're recalling the school board in Fargo, big time, because of masks and CRT and all that. Play cut 43.
Okay, so during third period, we have announcements and they do the Pledge of Allegiance. Fine. Except for the fact that my room does not have a flag. It used to be there, but I took it down during COVID because it made me uncomfortable. And in the meantime, I tell this kid, we do have a flag in the class that you can pledge your allegiance to. And he like looks around, he goes, oh, that one?
Yep, she's a teacher. She's in charge of children. And she says that we need to pledge allegiance to the gay flag. So here, just to kind of summarize this is all California, thankfully. Go vote for Larry Elder, everybody. That's all I have to say. Is you have the guy up in Sacramento as a microcosm of a macro trend of teachers that view themselves for 180 days to turn their children into revolutionaries. I mean, when I was in school, just to give you, I went to a very, I don't want to say liberal, but it was liberal-ish, but it was fair. I mean, if you were a conservative, you were allowed to speak your mind. There were still some jerks as teachers. If we would have had a gay pride flag in our classroom 10 years ago, there would have been a revolt. What happened, though, is parents stopped caring about the nation and their children, and they just kind of passed them off, and now you have these gay pride flags in the classroom. And no, not just there. You must pledge allegiance to the gay pride flag. You must pledge allegiance to the gay lifestyle. That's the new thing. And then you have the head of the teacher union in California, in Los Angeles, saying, it's fine that they don't know math. That's not what's important. It's not that as if you need to be able to do objective measurement of reality. That's not what we exist to do. Instead, we exist to try to create social revolutionaries. And then this teacher saying that you must pledge allegiance to the gay pride flag. So how do we fix this? I get that question a lot. Well, homeschool if you can. I know that's not an answer for everybody, but if you can homeschool, at the very minimum, do 1 hour of teaching with your children called a Liberty Hour where you sit them down and you teach them what you learned from the Hillsdale online courses that everyone needs to go take. You guys can check it out at charlieforhillsdale.com. And it's courses on everything, from an introduction to Western philosophy, to civil rights and American history, to classical children's literature, to the Great American Story that I highly recommend, to Constitution 101, to the Genesis story, to Introduction to Aristotle's Ethics, the Second World Wars, to Congress, how it worked and why it doesn't, to Mark Twain, Intro to the Constitution, which is phenomenal, Western Heritage from the book of Genesis to John Locke, Shakespeare, Public Policy from a Constitutional Viewpoint, the Federalist Papers, Winston Churchill and Statesmanship, the Presidency and the Constitution, Great Books 101. You should be taking these classes as parents and teaching your children every single week. If you're not, then you're not doing everything you possibly can to lean into this. You guys can do it. I want to do it alongside of you and help you clarify with any questions you guys have. charlieforhillsdale.com. charlieforhillsdale.com. Please stop sending your kids to public school. It is, after video of this, it's so damaging to our nation and to our country.
Stand up! Fight!